Welcome to the Future Hamburg Talk. Today we are going to talk about an alternative to palm oil. A startup named Colipy developed the so-called climate oil, and with that solution they won the Future Hamburg Award in 2023. Today our guest is Maximilian Webers. Very warm welcome.
Hello.
You are the CEO of Colipy, and your quote is, "Our brewery produces oils, not beers." So last year you won the Future Hamburg Award, and one part of the win was taking part in an international program in several fields like support, innovation, internationalization, and also taking part in this talk today. So therefore, this talk also marks a little bit the end of your Hamburg Future journey so far. It's very nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So you want to play an important role in the field of climate protection, and you have developed a technology to produce a sustainable alternative to palm oil. Can you describe it shortly?
Yes, I can. I will keep it short. Usually have it long, but we have two technologies, and the technology is a very ancient one. It's a brewery. So people have brewed beer or baked bread for centuries or even thousands of years. And we use the same processes. Yeast eats something sweet. In our case, it's industrial side streams, for example, from the food industry. We have a big cooking pot called bioreactor or fermenter. There we have water. We dissolve the side streams, and the cells are happy and thrive. And then after a few days, we harvest them and extract the oil. Now, the oil is termed climate oil for its superior CO2 footprint, which is almost zero. It's neutral, that's the value proposition. And then it can be marketed as a palm oil alternative. But we can also mimic others like cocoa butter alternatives, soybean and shea butter. This is one technology, our oil brewing from side streams. Our moonshot is a carbon dioxide transformation. There's volcanic bacteria that have been developed these capabilities in hot springs close to volcanoes, and they only had three ingredients to feed on: CO2 in these hot springs, hydrogen and oxygen. And in our patented, scalable and safe gas fermentation bioreactor, they do the same as the yeast, but much cheaper and faster, and even less carbon dioxide intensive.
Thank you so much for your explanation. It sounds so easy, but I assume it's very complicated, and I can see the sparkle in your eyes, which is so important. So Colipy is a spin-off from the Hamburg University of Technology. Can you describe the history and also which support you got?
Yeah, the Technical University of Hamburg plays a crucial role in the formation of the R&D team of Colipy. Now I had to count it, but I believe around about 5-6 people, full-time equivalents, core staff, and 3 or 4 co-founders graduated from the Technical University of Hamburg. And many of those shared the same supervisor for the PhD thesis, have been working together there for 3 to 5 years, not on the same project, but sharing the desk, sharing the lab equipment, and many times even publishing scientific papers and journals together. So this is really, on the formation of the team, crucial. Now, the support that we got from the university is also very, very important. It's been our sandbox. So we just graduated with a PhD. We didn't know how to rent a lab, build a lab, recruit people, and it's been a safe place. So we stayed there, and we knew it from all the past years. We opened the drawer, and voila, we got the ingredients we need. We got the tools we need. We got the expensive bioreactors, analytic devices, downstream devices, all in place. So basically, big shares and big parts of the team continued the same way as it did the past years, but now on their own project and a new technology.
Thank you so much for taking us with you. It sounds also a little bit that you've been in a safe space and then you've grown out of your shoes. And I also think, or I think I've read that you had to kind of leave the university to make space for other people.
That's correct. So the project is called Access Transfer of Research from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action. That's been the sponsor, the main donor of funding. My contract is with the university, and so is with the other 3 co-founders. So we started with 4 people, 3 scientists and me in the business realm. Since the traction with the economy has been decisive, we decided to incorporate very early, already in 2020. We haven't been asked to do so, but the signals indicated do it because it's worth it. And then all of a sudden in 23, we got a top up from the grant. We started with 1.2 million euro from the Exist program, and then we received another 2.9 million. With this additional funding, we could hire more staff, and more importantly, we could buy bigger and more expensive machines. Now the question was where to place those. So the university has been tolerating us. They signed a deal with 4 people with existing equipment, but now 6 or 7 people and huge bioreactors. We had to leave. We grow out of our shoes, yeah, as you said.
Very impressive. And now you have a new laboratory.
That is correct. Early this year, we moved to the Tempowerk, which is, say, 500 meters or 1,000 meters from the university campus away. And now we took the effort and really build a laboratory from scratch, from the flooring, from the siding, ventilation, high voltage supply, and getting all the big machines through small doors. So it's been quite an adventure and but rewarding.
I can assume that. But on the other hand side, you can also do it in a small version because you have also a mobile laboratory.
Yes, and we are very proud of this crown jewel. It's unique in the world. Now you have heard of, maybe there's other companies also using containers as for COVID testing. You know it from Hamburg. But we put a super new concept and our patent inside of a mobile container. And this container is our carbon capturing and utilization container. So our modern equipment is inside. And once we study it over the period of the next 6 months, we'll be bold enough to also ship the container to maybe a partner in Hamburg, which has off-gas, so maybe combustion processes from waste combustion plants containing CO2. So we can make the case for Hamburg to say, hey, you can make more of the CO2. It's not a liability, it's a cash asset maybe if you turn it to climate oil.
So now you mentioned one project. I have one question to the team. How many people work there right now, and can you imagine to hire more staff?
Yes, we can hire more people. Right now we reached our maximum capacity, so we are in our seed funding round, and we plan to have a staff of 13 people. We have a staff of 13 people now, 7 with PhD, so highly qualified, and right now we may have still place for interns. I'm right now working with an intern from Singapore in the business area, in the marketing area, so we're open for that. But the full-time equivalent positions are taken. We'll hire again next year when we get additional funding and grow further, maybe to 20, 26, 30 people.
Wow, amazing. Now let's talk about the product. So you can use it for cosmetics, for adhesive, for soap. Maybe you can give us more examples.
Vegetable oil has been used for many, many products in the past and in the future. There's big industries, some of them you already mentioned, cosmetics industry, but also food and feed industry, chemical industry, home care and laundry industry. With all industries, we already work together. We are exploring our best product market fit and the shortest way to the market. And here we selected the cosmetics industry. And now I can disclose it. It's public knowledge. The press release was last week. We won L'Oréal as one of our partners, and this is the largest cosmetics group in the world and a strong signal to the industry. We're also working with European home care and laundry companies together, which turn our oil to a surfactant. So this is what you find in the detergent, which makes the foam, for example, when you wash the clothes or go bathing.
I cannot imagine the technical process behind it to have CO2 and to get this climate oil. Maybe you can describe it a little bit without revealing your secret.
Sure. I would love to do that. First of all, the transformation of CO2 to something useful is something very fundamental to nature. We have it with plants. Everything green outside, trees, grass, but also algae in the ocean, and some other organisms transform CO2 to oxygen and something good. That's why we can breathe. Now in volcanic sources where those bacteria have been extracted, they got the ingredients carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and oxygen. So it's very simple. They absorb it. They take the carbon from CO2 to build fats, cell walls, sugars, just to grow and to multiply. 2 cells, 4 cells, 8 cells. But we're not interested in cells and biomass only. We want to have oil. And that's why we had to teach the bacteria to get fat. And this is done by a top team of strain engineers with genetic tools. This was one challenge and still is one challenge. The other challenge is going back to the ingredients. We have oxygen and hydrogen. Those gases together, maybe you remember chemistry class in the 10th or 11th form, and the teacher having those mixed and then doing these small experiments with lighter. Whoop.
Yes.
It's a small whoop, but if you go scale, it can be a big explosion. We don't want to have that.
Yeah.
And that's why we came up with a patented process and hardware design. Look, we had the terms bioreactor and fermentation many times already today. And a bioreactor, we have one cooking pot only for oxygen and CO2, and the other container, the other bioreactor, is only filled with hydrogen. So we have a clear cut between CO2 and oxygen and hydrogen. Those gases do not touch and do not become an explosive mixture. Now the trick is to circulate the bacteria at the right pace, at the right pressure, to make them thrive, because they are still hungry for all three ingredients at the same time, yet they should not be mixed. This is one very simplified explanation of our core principle of our patent, one claim of many other claims that we have published.
Thanks for this description. So are you still in the state of doing the research and trial and failures and testing, or are the products on the market right now?
We sold oil last year and we sell oil this year, yet in small scale. So every week we produce a few liters, not 1 million liters, not 100,000 liters, which is our goal, but 5 liters, and we sell those samples. And with those samples, we create trust from the industry. For example, off-take agreements. They say, hey, it works in our cosmetics formulation. I want to have more. But then we say, please order 100 tons or 1,000 tons. We get a list, we sign the contract, and use this to advertise Series A funding, or maybe even a debt or credit from the bank to build our industrialized production capacities. Mm-hmm. That's the idea for the next 2 years.
Yeah, actually, this is the question. What's on the horizon? Where do you see Colipy? Maybe not in 2 years, maybe in 5 years.
Okay. So in 5 years, our plan is to be the biggest yeast oil factory producer globally. And in 5 years, our bacterial carbon capturing and utilization technology should also have reached market readiness. Not scaling yet, but reaching the point that we say, okay, dear oil and gas company, you have a lot of CO2, come to us and sign a license fee. You can build the machine that we constructed. And for the yeast oil technology, we will enter the market in 26 and plan to produce 2,000 to 2,500 tons a year. This is still small because the world needs 70 million tons of palm oil every year. But for a startup and for a biotech company, 2,500 tons is definitely reaching industrial scale, and we can become a real supplier for some cosmetics or home care and laundry companies and partners.
It sounds like a dream journey, unbelievable. And you had a pretty great year because you could also raise some funding money this year.
So the first thing I did after celebrating New Year's and get over my headaches was going to the notary office here in Hafen City and sign the deal. So we raised 1.8 million euros, or about almost $2 million, from 4 investors. One of them is the IFB Hamburg. The other one is the HDGF fund. And then we have two private investors like Nidobirds, and the ex-CEO of Beiersdorf, this Hamburg-based cosmetics group, Stefan de Löker, is also investing.
Congrats for that. Now you mentioned Hamburg several times, and also, of course, the Technological University. So why did you decide on the Hanseatic city to stay here? Because of the history, or why?
Yeah. So I moved to Hamburg because I like Hamburg. I was living in Berlin before. But again, the Technical University of Hamburg was decisive in forming the R&D team. So more than a handful of people were already based here in Hamburg. They have their families here. Some just bought a house. So it's been me moving here. And some of the people just even did the bachelor's here, master's here, PhD here, have been born here. So it's a purely Hamburg startup with me being the only maybe external. But I feel like a Hamburger now.
Nice to have you here. And which role does the hydrogen economy of Hamburg play in your business?
Absolutely. This is on our radar. We are already in touch with the Hydrogen Association and with the lobby. So it's always 2 ingredients for our carbon capturing utilization technology. We need hydrogen supply or green energy to transform water to hydrogen ourselves. Mm-hmm. So wind parks are also not too far away from here, okay? And we need CO2. And there are some decisive CO2 sources around Hamburg.
And in which area do you make the most progress right now?
Well, I cannot tell. It's really both teams. The yeast oil technology, side streams to oil, and the CO2 to oil team is also progressing well. The yeast oil is a little bit closer to the market. Here we have technical readiness level of 6, so it really takes just 1 or 2 more years to really reach industrial scale. And the CO2 to oil transformation, our Moonshot program, this maybe needs another 4 to 5 years according to our plan to reach market readiness and technical readiness.
Mm-hmm.
But both teams are progressing well. So we're really, I guess, working a good 8 hours per day officially. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's more, and progressing towards. Just I had a call before entering this room with another home care and laundry industrial, and they say they have a huge pain point. So the European legislation, luckily, pushes towards a greener and more sustainable and circular economy. And for example, this Supply Chain Transparency Act is a pain point for the industry because it cannot be guaranteed anymore to have a cheap or transparent supply chain of palm oil, for example, or other natural ingredients to Europe. So this is a burden, and we're here at the right time.
Yeah, thanks that you admitted that. So are there any challenges which you face?
Yes, there's so many challenges. Raising the seed round, the funding, for example, has been a challenge. I fear that the venture capital market has been a bit spoiled by software successes. We have seen it with social media platform, maybe with dating apps, now with AI. So to us, sometimes it feels that this is the easiest way to make money, it's software. But having a startup that will maybe compete with industries that have been there for decades, and that not talking about, say, 5 liters of vaccine, but 5 million liters or 5 billion liters of product, which is at a low price point because it's a bulk chemical. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to have frying oil for more than €2 per liter, right? Or €4 per liter. Maybe
I don't know the numbers, actually, to be honest.
Olive oil is pretty expensive right now, so if you produced maybe an olive oil alternative, this is a good business case. But yeah, raising money was challenging. Mm-hmm. Then there's technical risk, at least for this mobile lab, the container unit, this carbon dioxide to oil transformation. With our bacterial strain and our approach, nobody has done it so far globally. There may be some similar approaches with other bacteria, but the exact idea and the pattern that we have is absolutely new. So it's not that we say, oh, we go to the book, we go to Wikipedia and research and just try it. No, we have to do both. Fundamental research, scaling, and pushing to the market at the same time, because investors don't have time, I don't have time, and the global climate doesn't have time neither to wait. Mm-hmm. So there's many things to do.
Yeah. And if I may ask a personal question, what's your personal motivation?
I think that's a very good question. Fun. I like to communicate with people. I like to travel. I always wanted to be. I like to be successful. I think this started with sports and karate back as a teenager, and even in elementary school. I love to be in competitions and get the gold medal. Then it's been I've been a professional gamer, and I love to win computer games. And now it's a new stage, a more senior stage, and for not only for fun but also for the good. We internally, honestly, as co-founder team, we never speak of getting billionaires or so. So money is really not the main drive or the incentive. For the scientists, it's the technical challenge. Mm-hmm. They love to solve problems and proceed and then have the next bigger problem and have the next best solution. So this is really this technical, mental and cognitive challenge. And for me, it's fun and success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe I had in mind, maybe it's also the burning of the rainforests because planting the palm oil trees and things like that, all things in the background.
I have a very personal story.
Yeah.
So after I graduated with a master's in management in Munich, my first job was not in Germany or Europe. I moved to Indonesia. So I lived in Indonesia. It's already 2016 to 17, too long ago, in Jakarta. And in Jakarta, I've seen the mist. I've seen this fog, maybe from burning forests, from fire clearing rainforests. I've been hiking on Sulawesi, which is a neighboring island to Java. And I wanted to go up to one of the highest mountains in Indonesia through rainforests. Mm-hmm. And I realized from this mountain slope near the valley, everything was already cleared for plantations. So really, you had to go up for 600, 700 meters until you reached the natural rainforest. And while hiking, everything was pretty silent. You maybe heard the cry of a bird or of a monkey, but what you heard loudest is the chainsaw. I didn't see the trees falling, but you could hear it echoing from one side to the other side and back again in the mountains. And this was a painful experience because the beauty of nature and there's a brutality of destroying it was just, in the same day, in the same moment, and a huge conflict.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Got goosebumps. Thank you very much. Actually, we are at the end of the interview. I have one last question. Can you complete the sentence? To me, Hamburg is?
To me, Hamburg is the port to the world, combining thriving past with a promising future in trading, but also in future technologies.
Thank you. This was the Future Hamburg Talk. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.